Wake up, it's the Tim Stevenson Show.
One example, Huntington Beach High School,
Mm-hmm.
there was an autistic kid, right?
Sure.
And a group of kids were beating up on him. And this one particular kid is like beating the shit out of this autistic kid.
Right.
So this football player, white kid, and the kid was white. They're all white kids. I mean, but the football player kid came up and socks the dude who socked the autistic kid. And they suspended the football player. I was like, why would you suspend him? He's the one who came to the rescue of that kid getting beat up by people, and you suspend the kid that helped him. So I'm like, why do you punish that guy? Why do you punish him? He's the guy who saved the day. For me, a guy deserved an award for standing up for somebody who couldn't fight for themselves.
To be honest with you, I don't even think he deserves an award. I think it's just what you should.
I'm just being hypothetical. You know what I mean?
No. I think it's just what you should be doing. But
it was the right thing to do, in my opinion.
Right. I'll give you another example. The idea that we celebrate somebody who finds money and gives it back. We celebrate that. I go, why do you celebrate that?
Right.
First of all, that's what you're supposed to do. It ain't your money.
That's why we celebrate it, because humanity's been kind of lost, right? So we're like, somebody did something good
of each other. That's what I'm saying.
Because that's what you're supposed to do. Like, so in Triangle Square,
that's what you were supposed to do.
That was supposed to do. Well, I mean, Chris Rock makes that joke. You're like, I take care of my kids. He's like, you're supposed to take care of your kids. You know what I mean? Why? Of course, that's what you do, right? So I was at Triangle Square, and this dude came running down the escalator, and I happened to be in the parking lot. Well, all 6 bouncers were chasing him. Started beating up on this dude. So I jump in the middle, and I'm literally like, y'all got to stop. You got to stop.
Right.
I don't know this kid.
Right.
I don't know any of those bouncers either. I just know that it's not a fair fight, right? 6 people on one dude, and he already left the property. So now you're just beating him up in the parking lot, and that's not suit your property. So I was like, yo, he's done. You got him. Ready? Now move. Because I'm like, I'm not going to stand here and watch this.
And this ain't the movies where you fall down 3 flights of stairs and you land and you get up 5 minutes later.
No.
This is one wrong move. You can paralyze the guy. You can kill the guy.
Right.
You're going to jail for the rest of your life for not killing a guy.
Right.
For what? For what? So all these videos of people, even kids think they watch these MMA videos and they think they could do something that somebody's trained with all their life. So they do a suplex on this guy, and all of a sudden the guy goes headfirst into the cement.
You know why they do that, right? They do that because the Jackass guys made money.
I'm not even saying it's the MMA. I'm just saying that they see it and they.
No, I'm gonna mean it started happening with the WWF, right? Everyone thought they could do that. They don't realize that the guys in the WWF and the girls are athletes, and they practice those moves every day so that they don't die doing them for television. I don't care if it's fake or not, they're still athletes, right? You can't just, so then people started jumping off the roof and landing on a table and breaking their back. I'm like, come on, man. And then the Jackass guys did it and got famous for it. And then you got a bunch of guys that try to do that. But what they don't understand is, like, a guy who fights in the UFC, if you ain't a UFC guy or you ain't Bruce Lee, you ain't winning that fight. Well, you are not winning that fight. That dude is a pro, right? You know what I mean? They are trained. I mean, it's like going to me. That's like when Conor McGregor fought Mayweather. I go, he's gonna. What do they say? Who thinks he's gonna win? I go, if they fight in a boxing ring, Mayweather will whoop his ass.
Mayweather's gonna win, right?
If they fight in the UFC, Conor McGregor will whoop his ass. It's not a fair fight.
It was basically a Rocky versus Clubber Lang.
Exactly.
I mean, because it was kind of like, come on. I mean,
it was. What was it? What's his name? What's his? Not Clubber Lang. What's Hulk Hogan, right?
Hulk Hogan. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Right. Hulk Hogan versus Sylvester Stallone. You're like 2 different worlds,
exactly.
2 different art forms.
But I think it's. Listen, I get it. I get it that people. Some people love the rush of violence. They love the idea of 2 people coming together in blows. I get that.
And I like it in the movies and in sports.
Well,
not in real life.
I don't necessarily have a problem with two people handling it like that. If they have to, whatever.
Sometimes you have to.
But there comes a point in time where you, as a human being, has to step in. But we don't step in anymore. And this is what goes back to my original point. Am I my brother's keeper?
Right.
And what America has to come to the realization is, I have not been.
Right.
I have not been my brother's keeper.
Yeah.
Because if I was, equality would feel like it existed for everybody.
Yeah.
This is when people.
So we came from a school, like you said, we came from a school and our parents where we would get in fights with people and then end up being friends later on down the line.
Right.
There was this common respect for like, okay, we got in a fight. I mean, I fought John Seeloff. I got in a fist fight. I got in a push fight with Sergio, Danny Barber. You know what I mean? We didn't come to blows with Danny Barber, but like I fought a lot of dudes in high school, you know, and then ended up kind of like hanging out with them here and there because it was just different. We didn't come back with 6 other dudes and shotguns 20 minutes later. We didn't do all that. If you lost a fight, you lost a fight. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But now there's this thing like, oh, if I lose, I'm coming back with guns and 6 more dudes, and I'm going after your family. You're like, come on, man. It's gotten out of hand. And like, I'm the first person to break up a fight always because I'm like, this is just. I mean, girl fights. Try not to get near girl fights because they're crazy, right? Like girl fights, I'm like, I might lose an eye or some shit. But like, dude fights. Now, don't get me wrong. I won't get into a fight with 2 dudes who are like on drugs. I won't even go near it because it's not your fight. Call the cops. You know what I mean? It's not. You just know when not to fight. Same thing with when a drunk couple or drug or drunk couple are fighting in the parking lot. Rule number 1, especially in the ghetto, if there's a drunk couple in the parking lot fighting and you try to save her, she'll hit you first. Guarantee she'll hit you first.
Right. Exactly.
What happened with Ross's brother. That's what happened at Garbs. He got knocked out. And then I had to fight the dude. But see, even when I fought that dude, it was more in self-defense. I didn't go after him. I took him off Jeff. And then I said, leave him alone. And then he came after me. And I was trying not to get hit. So I wrapped him up, dropped him down, started bleeding out of his nose. And then he was like, let me go. And I got up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not opposed to the idea of 2 people going at it for a reason. I mean, that's fine. But there are a lot of situations where, you know, you can tell as a human being, this ain't going to end well. Right. But I don't see anybody. It's almost like an old school way of thinking. Right. Most people, you know, take for, you know, I think one of the biggest prime examples that you brought up was that cop in your daughter's school.
Oh, and where?
The daughter's school, the cop that didn't go in.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there was something lacking in that guy.
Courage.
Now, you could say,
right.
Courage, but courage is built. It's not inherent.
Right. You know what I mean? But this is a trained officer, right?
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of people today, I feel, I could be wrong. I just feel from my standpoint of what I see. Again, I could be wrong. And I'm older, so, you know, maybe I'll look it through it, you know, as an older father's perspective. Right. But a lot of people I see don't have that humanity gene where I go, it's not about me. I think people go, it's all about me.
Yeah, and today's time, absolutely, I see that.
So to jump into a fight to break up something is to say, it's not about me because I can get hurt in that.
Right.
You know, but I just don't see that today. It's everybody's all about themselves. We can go into social media and influencers and all these good things that we could say for another day on another podcast, but you know, it's all about the individual. And I think that we've lived that life for so long that we're reaping
and those people and that type of mentality has been being rewarded, and that's the problem. Yeah, they get rewarded for it. Why do you think there were influencers in the middle of a riot taking pictures with a guy drilling wood in they weren't there to help. She takes the picture and then she gets back in the car. One lady like ran into the street, held up a sign that said Black Lives Matter, and then got back in the car.
Exactly.
You're like, and then they post it like, oh, I was here with the rally. Come on. You know what I mean? And
Right.
because they're trying to get likes and trying to get whatever. You know what I mean? But it now is gotten, social media has gotten so powerful. I mean, look at, I mean, even Trump's thing, right?
Yeah.
All the social media kids registered for a rally they weren't going to, just to make the seats empty. But there's so many of them that it works, that it worked.
Yeah.
You know, and the same thing with, like, I think it was on, I forget what it was. It was like one day, like all the K-pop kids, which is massive market.
Mm-hmm.
Every time somebody posted Trump or something, all the K-pop faces would pop up in the feed because they had taken over the feed, you know? And it's just like a modern day version of whatever, you know, a protest or whatever in different ways. That's just where we're at, right? But like you said, it's all about me. Why didn't that cop go in there? It wasn't like he was in the line of fire at that moment.
No.
He was behind a wall because the school's right here. I know what it looks like, right? Nicholas Cruz is in the freshman building, which is right here, right? The entrance to the school is right here. Where Kayla was right here. Right. You have to go across the hall, and she was on the second story, right?
Right.
What do? Draw your weapon, assess the situation, just like your training taught you, right? I'm not saying you had to go guns blazing, but you should definitely be in there trying to shoot some kid with a gun if you see it. At least give the opportunity for somebody to be alive, right?
Yeah. And this is where you could possibly weed out maybe some bad cops,
right?
Because you have to be committed that when you put your suit on, you put your vest on, your gun on, that you know that you're walking in between the proverbial two people that are fighting, like we just talked about.
Right.
You know that you are the line of defense, that you might be the one that gets killed. Right. That is the job.
That's part of the job. Exactly.
That is the job.
That's the job you took. Protect and serve, right? That's what you signed up for.
Which means that pulling your gun for your own safety may not be the best choice. That is the job. Just like when you sign up to go to war. Yeah. You don't sign up to go to war because you want a college degree.
No.
And a lot of people did that, though. A lot of people signed up because they wanted a free college.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, 9/11 happened.
Yeah. Rick Ortiz. So when Rick signed up for the Army, then we went to war in the Persian or Kuwait or the Persian Gulf, right?
Right.
And he got sent to training for that war. But by the time he ended up having to go,
right,
he was done. But I was like he just signed up. He was like, oh, now there's a war. Now I gotta go there.
Yeah. But that you weren't clear on what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
When you sign that dotted line that says, I will protect this country from the foreign and domestic. Yeah. Meaning that I will give my life for the ideals of what America stands for.
Right.
This is the protect and serve is almost their dogma. That's their mantra.
Right.
But it's gotten to a point where we don't respect them. They don't respect us. And who's going to win that? Who's going to win that battle?
Yeah.
They're going to win every time.
No, and I think my biggest issue with and we'll segue to one more thing, but I don't want to waste more time. But like when people say defund the police, I was like, why do we use that buzzword? Because no one knows what that means. Even if you reallocate money to different areas, like excess money for better police training, maybe sensitivity training, maybe whatever for those communities to do some sort of programs where people get to meet the officers and kind of have this bond. That's great. But when you just say defund the police, that means you're not paying cops. I'm like, that's a horrible word to use. Because I'm like, I would never agree to defund a police department. Are you stupid? Like, even if I thought they were racist, I still wouldn't defund the police department. I would say, these guys need better training. These guys need to understand that certain people aren't criminals. Whatever you got to do to make it better. But just saying the word defund means like I'm taking money away. And I'm like, and then everybody rides that train because they don't really understand what defund means. But they shouldn't have to understand it. You should say in the language they do understand.
Mm-hmm.
Say we're going to reallocate some of the extra police money so that they have a little bit more training. We can do some mental health checks on people because some people do not need a gun. Some people just don't need a weapon. If they're afraid and they shoot and kill somebody, or they don't like somebody. Either one of those two dynamics is horrible as an officer. As an officer, you need to understand your training. That's why you train. You know the difference between a civilian and somebody else. You know the difference between I can talk this person down or they're fucking scary. It just depends. But you still got to have that knowledge, right? Because some people just go in guns a-blazing. Oh, he's an angry black guy. We're just going to pull our guns out. We're like, well, maybe he just had a bad day, and you need to tell him that it ain't worth it. And all of a sudden, this kid becomes a different person.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's all about how you treat people. If you just slam everybody against the wall, everyone's just going to get pissed, right? You know, now if you deserve to be slammed up against the wall, that's one thing. But if you're cuffed and you get punched in the face by a cop, really? Is that absolutely necessary? Now, if he spits on you, fuck, punch him. But if he's not doing anything and you're just wailing on a guy with his hands behind his back, it's a cowardly move, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you're handcuffed.
If you're handcuffed, you can't. It's not like you're doing anything. You're handcuffed.
Most people with the most, I would guess to say, with the most basic of training, can handle anybody who's handcuffed.
Absolutely.
I would guess to say.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are instances where people, even women, on PCP, and they have like the strength of 10 men. That's a whole different subject.
Exactly.
But the average person with one or two average built cops, they could take your ass down easy.
Absolutely.
And that's what the taser is for, so you don't have to use lethal force. Now, does taser work on everybody? Doesn't work on everybody.
Doesn't seem to work. Yeah. I see people tasing people all the time, and all of a sudden they get up and they're like, "Oh, whoa, I don't know what that was."
I say, if you're afraid of a dude that's 3 times your size, and let's say he was actually committing a crime, why not shoot him with a dart like they do gorillas, and just knock the fucker out and put him in the back of the car? You know what I mean? Just use a tranquilizer dart, put him in the back of the fucking car. Like, you know what I mean?
You need a 10,000 gigawatt
right?
Gun.
You just like lions down with like one of those.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good idea. I don't know. See, some things that seem common sense, you go, why don't know? Why don't they just? Yeah, they shoot like major lions coming at them with like a tranquilizer gun.
Like one tranquilizer dart.
They go like pull it out of the guy's skin, or put him in the car.
You could do that. People. I mean, if they're that out of control, I mean, but if they're not, you know, you're like, okay, you know, you do what you got to do. But that's why you have backup. That's part of your training. Yeah. If there's too many people or one big person who's like scared, or maybe the dude knows kung fu, who knows? But you're also coming with weapons, tasers, all kinds of things at a distance so you don't have to get close enough to get hurt.
Right.
And you're wearing a bulletproof vest and the whole nine, you know?
Yeah.
Now there's some scary cartel militia people that they're armed better than cops. Those guys, like,
crazy.
I'm outside talking to my neighbors, 2 neighbors down. He's a cop. We talk all the time about all this stuff. And he's the same like me. He's like, I tune out half of it. He goes, there's so many things that people are just throwing in the wind all day long. And I'm like, it just.
Well, I think there's this idea, because I feel this sometimes, that there's this idea that it's too big, right? Like I'll listen to the news. I'll watch these things that are going on around the world, let alone America, around the world. Yeah. And I think, man, it's just too big. There's nothing I can do.
There is. Start in your community.
Exactly. I remember. Yeah. Just start where you're at.
Right.
Be good to people around you. Tell. I mean, it's a very as simple as telling people around you that you love them, that you care about. You know, it's just open the door for some people. Just trip them out by smiling and say hi. You know, I mean, it's the simple things. When we get wrapped around the macro things that we think, the world's falling apart. It's not falling apart. No. Just be your piece in the puzzle.
Yeah, I think like you said too before, it's when you watch TV or you're on your phone and like Facebook has just become this political firestorm. Like,
I even have a Facebook.
What happened to just hi? I haven't seen you forever. How are things? How's your family? It's everybody's posting they're posting whatever's good for their agenda. Like, oh, what about this cop? What about that cop? What about this guy? What about that guy? What about this statue? What about like the Aunt Jemima thing? I thought was incredibly retarded. Oh, we're gonna take our face off or whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever. If you want to take the face off as your company, that's your choice. but stop making it about two things. One, the comment of racism has nothing to do with Aunt Jemima in the first place.
No.
Second, does anybody really care about syrup that much that if we do take it away, you feel like you're taking away something? It's syrup. Nobody cares about it that much. You know what I mean? Like, it's syrup. Do we really care about syrup? No. White people are telling me, I can't believe you're taking away a big figure in Black history. And I go, as a white person, before today, did you know anything about Aunt Jemima? No, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But what would you say to the African Americans that are saying? See, I'm a very simple person.
I know where you're going with it, and I'm going to say what you're saying.
What
would I say to an African American about Aunt Jemima?
No. We've done some work in the past, personal work in the past, and things that we've done,
right?
Where it's been told to us that words don't hurt. Nobody can hurt your feelings. It's the way you react to it in which it hurts you, right?
Yeah.
So there are many times where I hear Aunt Jemima hurts me, and I go,
that is bullshit in the first place. That is complete bullshit.
If
you're hurt because of Aunt Jemima, you got bigger problems. That's my opinion.
And this is where we go with Theodore Roosevelt, George Washington. Yes, maybe they can be. Maybe it's a new generation. We should actually continually put new things out.
Yeah,
because the society is continually changing.
Yeah,
but this idea that statue hurts you. You pass that statue a million times, and you're 30 years old.
Right.
And now you say, "Oh, now it's hurting me." I go, and that you never even paid attention.
No, people are riding that train because for them it's a symbol of hatred. Now, if there's a bunch of people standing behind a Thomas Jefferson statue that were hurling racial slurs at people all day, I'd have a problem with it. Like, a lot of people have like 50% of the people who fly the Confederate flag are just supporting the Confederacy, right? The other 50 are using it as a weapon, right? Like, haha, we're Confederates, we used to own slaves. There's a difference between that radical and this one. Mm-hmm. Some people are just like, well, my great-grandfather fought in the Confederate War. No big deal, right? Mm-hmm. There's other people who use it to be like, ha, like when I was at Jody Messina and this drunk guy, Cowboy, was in the merch area and Sean was there with some other people. And this guy was like, I really like that hat. It would look better with this on it, right? And he only did it because I was standing there. And it was a Confederate flag. For him, the Confederacy said, man, that we used to own your ass. But see, then all of the dudes from Kentucky who were working for Jody Messina were like, I'm going to whoop this dude's ass in 2 seconds if he doesn't walk away from you, right? Because they're like, why is he doing that? He's being an asshole. You know what I mean? Because for him, it was like a thing. Like, he thought I was going to get a reaction out of me. And I was like, it's a flag. Who gives a shit?
And honestly, you should feel sad for that guy.
Yeah.
Because that's all he has.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
Anybody who acts that way, you should feel sad. I mean, that's where I was listening to someone, I think it was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was talking to someone who was a Navy SEAL they were talking about martial arts.
Okay.
And they were talking about, in order to really gain expertise, you have to be able to control emotion.
Absolutely.
Because if you jump into the ring with emotion and adrenaline, you'll be tired within the next 5 minutes.
Right.
You're done.
Right.
But in those moments, instead of reacting, you should almost like you go, man, that's all that guy's got. That's
I didn't let it faze me. They were more mad than I was. I was like,
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because that's mastery in a certain part of a life. Right. Is that you have the ability to go, there's more to that scene than just some guy going, I love the Confederate flag and this is what it means. Mm-hmm. No, it means that guy, that's all that guy's got, and he's got nothing else.
Yeah.
He's got nothing else.
Now, there are people who genocide would be something that they want. Those people have real problems.
Oh, yeah.
Eliminate all the Jews. Why would you say that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You're like, what would that do for you? You'd just be mad at something else. Let's say all the Jews and all the black people and all the Chinese people went away. Now you're gonna be mad at a white guy because he's got long hair and they should all burn in hell. You know what I mean? It was like it's just gonna move to something else anyway, because they're just like that. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna find something. It's like people. I won't even use his name, but you know who he is. Who, no matter what, you're always gonna want something else or something more. I got a bigger house. Now I want to sell it and get a bigger house. Now I got a bigger house. Now I want a better car. Now I got a bigger car. I want another car. They'll never be happy. They just always want something else.
Right.
That's how some people are like that. It doesn't matter. That's why Passages exists, right? Passages is full of people who can afford $10,000 a month for rehab. They got everything, and they're still sad inside.
Yeah, and that's where I believe that's where we need to take a breath, and that's where everybody should stand.
Yeah,
is that we should feel not angry. We should feel bad in this moment.
mm-hmm.
You know, but I think if when the dust settles and we look at each other, we'll just go, why are you yelling at me now? Why are you yelling at me? Like two people, like a white and a black guy, will look at each other and go, we never were this way to each other in the first place. Why are we yelling at each other? Because I think that's most of America.
And I think what's happening now is people are mad because they feel like they're stripped of something, and maybe that's true. And now other people who weren't stripped of things feel like they're being stripped of something because we're bringing up the topic.
Exactly.
And now we have this battle over why should we do this and why should we feel like that, and we don't understand and we don't want to understand. It's just this big convoluted conversation, and I keep going, it just sounds like everybody's screaming. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like Charlie Brown on both sides of my ears, just like doing the wah 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 thing, and I'm like, everybody stop. At the end of the day, the beer tastes the same. Okay, so why are we having this conversation? You know what I mean? It's like so that's why I told Brian today. I was like, hey, I don't want to. I said, if you want to talk to me and not automatically start pointing the finger at people, we can do that. But if you get in the conversation and you're trying to educate me and all you keep saying is, well, see, the Democrats did this, we're already in that pointing the finger conversation. I don't want to have that conversation.
Right.
I don't care if the Democrats or the Republicans are right or wrong. To me, it doesn't matter, because I don't live my life based on what either doctrine says. They just
educate. You know, like if he believes in something,
right,
share it.
Right.
Don't tell me it. Like say, hey, take a listen to this book. Tell me what you think.
Right.
And it's about the Democrats in the back of the day and the Republicans, and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
And then we can have a conversation about it. Maybe you have a point, I have a point, whatever. Just share it. Educate each other.
But the problem is the conversation started with, I want to educate you. And I was like, well, conversation's going south real fast, because you're not going to tell me anything.
That's funny.
Don't educate me on anything. I'm a grown man.
Let me tell you how it is.
You don't understand because no.
You don't understand.
You're just as bad as, to me, if you're that way and all you're doing is pointing finger, there's no difference between you and the radical left. You're a radical right. So what's the difference? You're just fighting.
I mean, I have
all that, you know.
I have strong beliefs about things, but
right
in the car when I'm on my own,
right,
those are where I share my strong beliefs.
Yeah.
But when I go to talk to someone, I go, in order for me to communicate,
right, and
for someone to hear me, I cannot scream and yell.
Right.
Nor can I move mountains. If somebody's stuck in their ways, I can't move a mountain here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, just if you want to say something, share it. That's fine, you know. But people try to get you on their team. I'm like, look, I don't love football enough to paint my face the color of any team. I don't love football that much. I don't love any sport enough to paint. But people do it because that's their team, and I get it. You wear your color of your team. We go to Pacifica or Mariners. I get it, but I'm not mad because Kennedy High School is green. I'm not mad because you like another team and you don't like my team. And I'm also not willing to paint my face the color of a Mariner to say how much I love my team either, because I don't idolize that figure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when people idolize a president, I'm like, the problem is that you're idolizing a person. because you feel like he represents whatever you want, but he's still a person. So when I tell people, I go, look, I got no problems with the Democrat or the Republican Party. I just got a problem with Trump. I just wish he would shut up. If he's doing great for the country, do great. But the stupid stuff like, oh, I was taking a gets of water. And I'm like, if you're going to play politics, play politics.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're like, do I care that you walked down a ramp and fell? I don't give a shit. Do I care that you drink your water with one hand? It doesn't stop my day from doing anything. But people are so hell-bent on one or the other. Oh, did you see him? He only sipped with one. Do we really care if he drank a glass of water? And I don't also care that he's telling stories instead of telling us his issues during a rally. I go, tell us what your policies are. Tell us what you're going to do for the country. I go, because what happens if I want to be a Republican? I'm like, you're not telling me anything. Is there another person in the Republican Party that could tell me something? Because if they do, I'm going to vote for them and not you.
Right. Yeah, they get caught up in all the jockeying for position and all that stuff. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It just seems like common sense these days will it'll rule the day.
That's why I like the young kids, because they get into debates that we've never had because it's a different time, and they all have different perspectives. But they're in the room together, kind of talking about it, this, that, and the other. And there's not really right or wrong. It's just whatever you're saying. You know, it's just, look, this is my opinion. This is what I think. That's not right or wrong. That's what you think. This is this is that. As long as you're not hurting anybody. Does it really matter what team you play for? No.
Not really.
People always find it weird when people who battle in sports are friends off the court. I go, you're in the game. Whoever's on the other team is the enemy. The game is over. You're like hanging out with their kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly. It should. Man, it's just crazy times. We've never really experienced.
No.
All the. You know, all of it coming together like it's doing right now. So it just seems like really, you know, we got to remind ourselves we're still in a pandemic.
Yeah, I think that kind of, a lot of people took that one and went out the window. And I was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
But
it just seems like, you know, like a escape from New York and Seattle.
Yeah.
You know, Joe Pliskin has to go in there and save the president from Seattle.
Like, it's a movie every day. I'm like, oh my, this is why. But it's because I'm in broadcasting, so we have to kind of know some news and stuff. But I try to tune out because I'm like, I can't take all the, like, Facebook. I didn't even delete people. I just delete feeds so I don't have to see the arguments all day. It's like, anybody have anything positive to say? Like, the sky's green. Like, I put up a picture of my dad. I was like, Billy Ocean. Why? Because that's what I'm talking about.
You know, on a side note, we'll take it away from some of these things, but, you know, on a side note, I was watching Jordan Peterson and I can't remember the other guy's name. They're super intellectuals, right?
Right.
Real smart guys, and I love listening to them. But it was so funny. But at the end of the day, all they were real smart guys trying to prove something that's you can't make it real. They were trying to figure out who was right about whether God existed or not. I'm like, neither of you know. So all you're doing is intellectually trying to beat one another in a debate, which has no end. So which just made me think that each person, you just have to be your own. You have to get to a point where you have to think. Like, thinking is a muscle.
Yeah.
You got to read books. You got to formulate your own ideas about life.
Right.
But you got to dig deeper with your friends. Ask them more than what's going on, man. And he says nothing, and you go, okay.
And read more than one book, because you can read a book and then read another book that refutes everything in that book. So you kind of have to do all the research. You can't just do one.
Right. Read about things that piss you off, and read about things that you're. But you have, like, I take time to. It's normally in my car. I turn the radio off. I'm off to Burbank every day, so it's about 25-30 minute ride, and I just think. I just go over conversations that and I think of the opposing conversation, and I think, okay, do they have a point? Do they not have a point? What am I missing? What do I need to learn? What am I thinking about? What is Jordan Peterson right? Is the other guy right? Questioning. Like, if Bill Maher upsets you, and you're a Christian, then you really need to to question what you know and what you don't know. It shouldn't
Right.
bother you.
Yeah.
But it's something that I think everybody should do, is build that muscle to really think of who you are and your ideas within this whole thing.
You know what I tell people? I go, who was the third person writing the story about Adam and Eve?
Yeah.
Because we tell a story about Adam and Eve. But who's
But
telling the story about Adam and Eve?
There's stories.
But
The
who's
story is
but who's telling the story?
I don't know that much. I don't know.
I'm just saying, because when we learn Adam and Eve, we're learning what we've been taught is there was just Adam and Eve, right?
Right.
But we're telling the story as though we're standing outside looking at Adam and Eve going, this is what happened. Who's this person?
Right. But it's, for me, it's that's where I get frustrated, is because even green eggs and ham,
Mm-hmm.
you go, it's the person that goes, wait a second, there's no such thing as green eggs and ham. You go, you're an idiot. You're not getting it.
Right.
Read it again. Well, I don't understand why it has to rhyme everything. There's no green eggs. I go, you're not getting it. There's more to it than just
Green
understanding or even
Right.
believing that there was an Adam and Eve.
Right.
There was more to it. What's the story about? What are you learning? How relevant is it to you today?
Right.
You know, and we can go way into it, but there's, Adam and Eve is, there's a time when Jesus searched out Adam and Eve, and Adam went and hid. And for men, that's a big thing. We hide from things.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the story should live in your head. What am I learning from this?
Right.
I don't know if Adam and Eve was real. I don't know. They could be. I have no idea.
Yeah. But
I'm just learning
and
from
that's
this.
why I pose the question all the time.
Yeah.
Because it makes you think.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so what we've been taught. Now, here's the crazy part. When we think of Adam and Eve, at least in my brain, when I was a kid, we assumed that Adam and Eve were white. Adam and Eve, if you actually just go to the source of Adam and Eve, we have no idea what they look like.
No.
We don't have a picture of Adam and Eve. Like
we don't even have a picture of Jesus. If you thought about it, he was he was probably dark. I mean,
and he had hair of woolly lamb and all this other stuff, right?
Again, if you get caught up in that,
right,
you're missing everything.
Well, I think people get caught up in it because they were like, what are we trying to say then? Right? What are you trying to say? Because everyone took that and went with it, right? Yeah. Everyone said, this is what he's trying to say. And then this guy said, this is what he's trying to say. And this guy was like, no, this is what he was trying to say. Now, yes, you can get caught up in all the religions and go, everybody had a different path, whatever. And at the end of the day, everyone's still talking about God or a God, unless you're a Scientologist or whatever, right? But I think people question it because people just question things. They just go, well, what? I'm supposed to believe it because you said it?
Yeah. So let's bring that to today.
Yeah.
What is today? What am I learning from today? What's going on today?
I'm learning two things. One, I'm learning that you're finding the humanity in people and the inhumanity in people simultaneously.
Yeah. No, it's true.
That's for me. You know what I mean? I'm finding both.
Yeah.
I do see a lot of camaraderie, and then I do see a lot of division, and then I see, like, for me, like, media and things like that are basically just perpetuating everything, because people believe the media. They believe certain types of media. You can call this one fake media, but you can't call them fake and not call them fake, because everyone has an agenda, and every media is on one side of the fence or the other, because that's how they talk. So they're already creating the division. No matter what, you're not on my team. You're not a Republican, you're not a Democrat. And if you're in the middle, you might be a socialist, or you just want peace. But, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The only reality that matters is the one you create.
Yeah, absolutely.
It matters. Yeah. If I create that the world is racist, that's what I'm going to live in.
And that's where you live. But, like, I try to find a humanity in everybody. That's what I am doing. And I go,
And it's work.
When I meet a person, I don't go, oh my gosh, is this white person going to like me? Or if this black person is going to like me? I just go, they're a person. Hi, how you doing? If they say nothing, then they say nothing. If they say something, then they say something. I can't control what they're going to say. And I don't need to feel accepted by either of the two.
Exactly.
You know
and that's the thing. The moment you start to think that you know that person by the reaction,
right,
we're just trying to fit in.
Right. And I told that to some of my students because they're like, we don't like Carlos because he's harsh and he's crass and he's this and that and the other. And I'm like, who cares? It's about what he's saying, not about his personality. We're trying to learn camera work. Listen to what he's saying and stop worrying about his personality. Who cares?
Right.
This is him. But see, me and Carlos are friends because I go to the school. He's like giving me a pound. I was like, whatever, because I'm look past, if you're not listening and you're not the type of person who's listening to what he's saying, you're more concerned with him babying you through this class as opposed to giving you the facts. These are the facts. There's a sensor, there's an aperture, and there's an ISO. Do I need to go, there's an ISO and there's an aperture, and are you okay today? Do you need a break? Just get the facts. That's what he's trying to do. Some of the teachers are different. Some like to over compliment, and that's what they do.
Right. And it's what I've since we've left high school and I've worked and I've created a family, my goal is to know who I am. What do I stand for? Who am I? Right. I make mistakes. If you take it into a Christian world, I sin. I do all the good stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that's where you have to start. Who are you, and what haven't you been being in that sense?
Right.
Like if you're someone who hasn't really paid attention to the equality of people around you, so be that. Then be that. Right. Be that person now. Understand, learn, talk, figure it out. But don't. You can get caught up in so many different directions. Everybody's telling you who to be and what you're not. And right. I don't deal with that. I just figure out who am I?
Right.
Who am I in the matter of my family? Who am I in the matter of the friends that I have? Who am I in the matter of the future of the people around my kids and their kids, and how do I treat them? That's all. I mean, I try not to get, and I do sometimes get caught up in the macro sense of the world where I go, it's all going to hell. Then I get depressed and I go,
yeah, that's easy to do these days.
Yeah. And so I don't know. That's where, if anything, we can look back to our generational background and say that your mom and my mom and our dads did a good job.
Yeah. So in closing, thank you, Miguel, for your time. We're brothers, so this will be the last time we have this it's conversation. Maybe next time will just be a little bit lighter. But it is what it is. That's the time we're in, and that's what we talk about. And give your love to the kids and the wifey. Yeah, man. Every day is just an interesting day in this COVID world we live in, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Let me just say, man, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the fact that you're doing this broadcast. I mean, I never question your success. You'll always be successful. But the idea that you're having it makes me happy that you're having fun again.
Yeah, man. I'm loving it. You know what I mean? So we're gonna do more of this. Absolutely. And yeah, man. So we'll see Miguel again. Oops, I'm dropping everything. We'll see Miguel again here on the Tim Stevenson Show. And yeah, we're out. Love you, brother.
See ya.
Wake up, it's the Tim Stevenson Show.